I knew it the second I stepped into my kitchen and smelled the clean, chemical edge under the rosemary. Bleach. Not a stray drop on a rag, not the faint soap trace from washing up. The sour, biting bleach you get when someone means to erase something. The soup was on the stove, a pot of my slow-simmered chicken and barley that had been bubbling away for hours. I'd been making it all morning for Mark. He liked it, for the way it warmed him after late nights at the office. He wasn't due back until tomorrow, which is why I was surprised to see Chloe at my island, her back to me, a bottle of bleach in one hand and the ladle in the other. She froze. For a second, she looked like a woman caught unwrapping a present she'd been told not to touch, flustered, guilty, and ready to lie. "Evelyn," she said, the practiced softness in her voice arriving 2 beats too late. I was going to dilute it. I read online you can lighten heavy soups with a splash of peroxide or something. It was supposed to be a trick. Sorry, I thought—" "Bleach," I said. My voice didn't rise. I learned long ago that when you want the truth, you start calm. People stumble over the calm. She set the bottle down like it was hot. "It's not bleach, Mom. It's a cleaning solution. I squeezed the cap. I thought it was the diluted stuff. It's fine. Relax." Her hands were trembling. She smiled too much. The smile of someone who has rehearsed what to say to make the witness doubt themselves. We don't live in houses without histories. Chloe and I had skated around one another for 3 years. Mark and I are close, not clingy, just familiar in the ways of a mother and her son. Chloe had married into that familiarity and kept bumping headfirst into it. Little things, unsolicited, helpful reorganizing of my pantry, choosing to vacuum the living room when I planned a family movie night, swapping the framed wedding photo on my mantle for a modern printless frame as if erasing the memory. She said she was nesting. I called it erasing. Her motive was always hidden beneath niceties, like, "I want our home to feel like ours." But every time the phrase came with a subtle shove. Mark, bless him, never saw it. He adored her. He loved how neatly her lunches were packed, how she laughed at his corniest jokes, how she fixed things around my home in a way that made him admire her work ethic. I had told him once, gently, that Chloe and I were different people. He had smiled and patted my hand and promised to be the tie between us. I believed him. Perhaps that was my first mistake. "I didn't mean to," Chloe tried to step forward, but I felt a cool, clean rage press against my ribs, a surprising sharp thing in a body that had soft assembled itself around decency for 66 years. I did the thing people tell themselves they'll never do. I watched her try to explain away what she'd done. I watched the lie slip, and instead of calling Mark, instead of calling her bluff out loud, I did something quieter. "You think the soup needed lightening. You think my cooking is too heavy for your delicate palate?" She looked indignant now, the trick inverted. "It was a simple fix. You poured bleach in my pot." She flinched as if struck. Her lip twitched, an actor caught in a rehearsal half-finished. "I said it was a cleaning solution. I didn't—" "Evelyn, you're being dramatic. There's a difference between raising your voice and raising a consequence." I slid the ladle back into the pot and scooped a bowl. The steam fogged the glasses perched on the end of my nose. I remembered every woman I'd been. The young mother burnt by casserole pans, the newlywed who'd learned to season by mistake, the middle-aged widow who's learned to read people by the way they pour tea. I knew how to set a table. I also knew how to set a scene. "I'll let you explain this to Mark, but first, taste it." She stared at me like I'd asked her to do something rude. "Why?" "To see if you still believe your trick works." My tone was gentle. My movements were careful. I ladled the soup into a shallow bowl, the one Chloe always used, with the tiny chip on the rim she pretended not to notice, and placed it in front of her. She wrapped her fingers around the bowl as if it were a weapon. "You can't be serious." "It's only soup, Chloe." I kept my eyes on her face. I wanted to see the exact moment pretense would crack. I wanted to catch the reflex, the first twitch when guilt becomes self-preservation. She lifted the spoon like a duchess sampled perfume. Dainty, deliberate. She took a tiny sip, no theatrics. For a second she merely blinked, searching for the flaw. Her mouth tightened. Her face did something small and immediate, like your expression contracts when you bite into a lemon because you forgot it was on the stove. Her hand trembled. She set the spoon down with care. Oh my God. She pushed the bowl away as if it had burned her. What is in this?" I kept my voice light. "You tell me." She grabbed her phone as if the sound of incoming calls could rescue her. She dialed Mark, and within seconds the kitchen was full of the high, quick soprano of a panic she'd chosen to wear. "Mark, Mom put something in my soup. Are you home? Mark!" Her voice tightened into accusation. The tone was practiced, something between fear and outrage, a cocktail designed to rally allies. I watched her as she spoke, her eyes flicking to me like a child trying on an adult's fury and finding it fits. Fury, after all, can be as performative as grief when you learn to use it. She left a paused call on the counter and stalked out, taking the bowl with her like war evidence. I didn't follow. Instead, I washed up slowly, letting the ticking of the clock and the hiss of the kettle fill the space between my heartbeat and the truth. In those quiet moments, I thought of my mother, who taught me to let a thing reveal itself in its own time. That night, I went to bed with the radio low and the kitchen window open. I turned my phone face down on the bedside table because news of a fight is usually a cold thing that grows hot when left to fester. Sleep came thin and shallow. At dawn, I woke to a buzzing I hadn't expected, my phone, a storm of light on my bedside table. I almost laughed when I saw the number, 89 missed calls, all before 7:12 a.m. I stared at the screen, at the little red badge that seemed to pulse with someone else's panic. My thumb hovered. I read one voicemail preview through the blacked-out screen. Mom, where are you? I saw Chloe's story." The rest blurred into a chorus.
I hadn't called anyone. I hadn't posted anything. Yet somehow, by evening's end, our kitchen had become everyone's theater. The first thing I did after seeing those 89 missed calls was put the kettle on. Not because I wasn't curious, not because I didn't care, but because I've learned that rushing into someone else's panic is how you get trapped in their version of the truth. I made my tea slowly, with the same care I used when Mark was a boy and the world felt too loud for him. 2 scoops of sugar, a splash of milk, and a deep breath. Then I sat at the kitchen table, phone in hand, and started scrolling. That's when I saw it. A video. Chloe's face filled the screen. She was pale, wrapped in a blanket, sitting on my couch. Her voice was hoarse, trembling, the kind of trembling you can turn on and off when you want sympathy. "She tried to poison me," she said, looking straight into the camera. "My mother-in-law, Evelyn, I don't know why she hates me, but last night I caught her putting something in my food. I think it was bleach." She shook her head slowly, like she was fighting back tears. If I hadn't stopped eating? The comments below were a mess. "OMG, call the police. She's dangerous. Your mill is jealous of you. I bet she's been doing it for years." I put the phone down. My hands weren't shaking, but my jaw was tight. This wasn't just her followers seeing this. She had tagged Mark, his friends, my church group, even my cousin in Florida who loves nothing more than family gossip. Before I could think too hard, my phone rang again. This time, it was Mark. I answered. "Morning, sweetheart." "Morning, Mom! Do you have any idea what's going on? Chloe is sick. She says you—" He stopped, as if even saying it out loud was too much. "She says you put bleach in her food?" "I didn't put bleach in anything," I said simply. "She did. I saw her." "That doesn't make sense." "Doesn't it?" I sipped my tea. "Ask her why she had the bottle in her hand when I walked in." "She said she thought it was something else." I cut him off. "Mark, do you believe her over me?" There was a long pause, then a sigh. "Mom, I'm just trying to understand what happened. She's in bed right now. She's been throwing up all night." I almost laughed. "Did she go to the hospital?" Another pause. "No, she didn't want to." Of course she didn't. A hospital visit would have meant tests. Tests would have shown exactly what was or wasn't in her system. I kept my voice calm. "Mark, I'm fine. My soup was fine. If she's sick, maybe it's from the lies she's been swallowing." "Mom, But I could hear Chloe's voice in the background, faint and pitiful. "Don't let her come near me." He hung up. I stared at the phone for a long time. This wasn't going to blow over. Chloe wasn't just trying to stir up trouble. She was building a story big enough to ruin me. And the thing about stories is, if someone else writes yours first, you'll spend the rest of your life trying to take the pen back. I finished my tea, washed the cup, and decided I wasn't going to defend myself. Not yet. I was going to let Chloe talk. Let her think she'd won. Let her make her version so loud that when the truth came out, it would be twice as shocking. But I needed proof. And to get it, I'd have to step into her game. And that's when I made the first call of my day. Not to Mark, not to the police, but to someone who knew exactly how to deal with liars who think they're smarter than you. The person I called was my neighbor, Gloria. Gloria has lived 2 houses down from me for 20 years. She's one of those women who notices everything without making it obvious. If your trash can is out too long, she knows. If your curtains are drawn at odd hours, she knows. And if your daughter-in-law sneaks into your kitchen when you're not around, oh, she definitely knows. She answered on the first ring. "Evelyn, what's wrong? I saw Chloe's post. My sister sent it to me, if you can believe it." "Then you already know I'm apparently the Wicked Witch of the West." Gloria snorted. "Sweetheart, you couldn't poison someone if you tried. Your cooking's too good." "I need your help. Do you still have that security camera you put up after the raccoon incident?" "You mean the one facing your back door?" "Oh, honey." I could hear the smile in her voice. "It's been recording for weeks." That was all I needed to hear. By 9 a.m., Gloria was at my kitchen table with her laptop. We went straight to the footage from the day before. And there it was, 2:13 p.m., Chloe walking in with the bleach bottle in her tote bag. She looked around, made sure the coast was clear, and headed straight to my stove. We watched her unscrew the cap, pour something into the ladle, and stir. She wasn't guessing. She wasn't mistaking it for a lightener. She knew exactly what she was doing. Gloria pressed pause and leaned back. "You want me to send you the file?" "Not yet," I said. "Let's just, keep it safe for now." Because the thing about proof is you don't show it too early. If you do, the liar changes their story to match what they think you know. No, you let them feel comfortable. You let them spin themselves into a knot so tight they hang from it without your help. By 12 noon, the calls had slowed. People probably decided I was ignoring them because I was guilty. Fine by me. I made myself lunch and kept the TV low. Around 3 p.m., there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, there stood Chloe. No makeup, hair messy, wrapped in the same blanket from her video. She looked like she had walked straight out of a sickbed. "Mark says we need to talk," she said, voice weak. I stepped aside. "Then talk." She shuffled in, sat at my table, and gave me a small, pitiful smile. "I don't know what happened yesterday. Maybe I made a mistake. I think we got off on the wrong foot, Evelyn. I want us to be family." "That's all you want?" I asked. She nodded. "Yes, and for you to admit you were wrong about me." I held her gaze. "And if you don't?" Her expression changed in a blink. The softness vanished. "Then I'll make sure no one in this family believes a word you say." It wasn't a threat. It was a promise. She stood, adjusted her blanket, and walked out without another word. I didn't stop her. Because now I knew something important. Chloe wasn't just reckless. She was bold enough to think she could control the story forever. And bold people make mistakes. The kind you can use to end them completely. I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was scared, but because I was planning. Chloe thought this was just between us, me, her, and Mark. She didn't realize the second she put that video online, she handed me the one thing she couldn't take back. An audience. An audience remembers. By morning, I knew exactly what I was going to do. I called Mark first. He sounded tired, like he hadn't slept either. "Mom, please tell me you're not planning anything. Chloe's still sick." "Mark," I said softly, "if your wife is truly sick, I'm the one who saved her. If I hadn't walked into that kitchen when I did, she'd have poisoned herself by accident." He sighed. "You're twisting things." I almost laughed. "Am I? Or are you just hearing it from the wrong person first?" Before he could answer, I told him I wanted both of them to come over for dinner that night. "Dinner?" he repeated. "Yes," I said. "I'll cook something light, for Chloe's delicate stomach." He hesitated. "I don't think—" "Mark," I said firmly, "if you want to hear my side, you'll come, both of you, tonight at 7. After I hung up, I went straight to Gloria's. "I need you to be here tonight," I told her, "and I need you to bring your laptop." Her eyebrows shot up. "Oh, we're doing this now?" "Oh, we're doing this now." That evening, I set the table just the way Chloe liked it. White plates, cloth napkins, no centerpiece to block conversation. I made chicken and vegetables, no soup. At 7:05, they arrived. Mark looked tense. Chloe looked like she'd stepped out of another episode of her online drama. Pale, fragile, a tragic heroine and a blanket. We sat. I poured wine. Chloe refused hers with a little cough, as though she were dying from the fumes. We ate in silence until Mark put his fork down. "All right, Mom, what's your side?" I smiled. "Actually, Gloria will tell it." That's when Gloria walked in from the kitchen with her laptop, set it on the table, and pressed play. There on the screen was Chloe, walking in, pulling the bleach from her bag, pouring it in, stirring it. Clear as day. No mistakes. No accidents. Chloe froze. Mark's fork clattered to the plate. "What the hell is this?" "I told you. I saw her." Chloe's voice cracked. This is fake. You edited this." Gloria laughed. "Sweetheart, this is straight from my security camera. Timestamp, date, everything." Mark turned to Chloe. "You said she... I can explain." But her voice was shaking now, and she knew the more she talked, the deeper she was sinking. I didn't say another word. I just let the silence stretch, because sometimes silence is louder than shouting. Mark pushed his chair back slowly, his eyes never leaving her face. Chloe stood, clutching her blanket, and walked out without looking at either of us. The door slammed. Mark sat down again, his hands on his face. "Mom, what am I supposed to do with this?" I said quietly, "Decide whether you want to live with someone who can look you in the eye and lie this easily." And that was the first time I saw my son look at his wife and see a stranger.
Mark didn't go after her that night. We sat at the table long after the food went cold. He just kept rubbing his hands over his face like he was trying to wipe the day away. "She said you hated her," he finally muttered. "She said you've been trying to get rid of her since the wedding." I didn't raise my voice. "Mark, if I wanted her gone, I wouldn't have been patient this long." He gave me a tired look, the kind you give when you're starting to realize the person you've been defending might be the problem. "Where would she even get an idea like that?" he asked. I took a deep breath. "Because if she can paint me as the jealous, bitter mother-in-law, no one will question why she does the things she does." People believe a good performance more than the truth, especially when the truth is quieter. Gloria, still sitting with us, leaned in. "Mark, I've seen her at the house when Evelyn wasn't home. She's gone through her mail. She's moved things around. This didn't start with the soup." Mark leaned back, staring at the laptop like it might suddenly delete itself. "I don't know how I didn't see it." "You didn't want to," I said gently. "That's what she was counting on." He was quiet for a while before saying, "She's not going to admit it. She'll twist this. She'll make me feel like I'm betraying her." "Then let her," I said. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step back and let someone show everyone exactly who they are. The next day, Chloe tried. Oh, she tried. Her social media exploded again. Teary-eyed videos about deepfakes and spiteful neighbors. She claimed I had hacked her life to frame her. She even posted a long caption about forgiveness, the kind where the person writes like they're the victim for being hurt by your hate. But she made a mistake. She got defensive in the comments. When strangers started asking why she didn't go to the hospital, she snapped. When someone asked why she had bleach in her bag in the first place, she blocked them. People noticed. By the third day, her followers were arguing with each other. By the fifth day, she took down the video entirely. But deleting a lie doesn't erase the fact you told it. Mark came by that evening, alone. He stood in my doorway, hands in his pockets. He said, "I think we're going to take some time apart." I nodded. "Good." He looked surprised. "Good?" "Yes, good, because now you'll have the space to remember what peace feels like." He gave me a small, tired smile. "You always play the long game, don't you?" I just handed him a container of fresh soup and said, "Always." But I wasn't done yet, because Chloe might have deleted her video, but she hadn't called me to apologize. and I was going to make sure the next time she thought about crossing me, she'd remember exactly how it felt when her own story turned on her.
2 weeks passed before I saw Chloe again. Mark had moved back into his old room for the time being. He kept the conversation about her short, and I didn't push. When someone is unlearning a lie they've lived with, you let them work through it themselves. But Chloe, she wasn't done. One Saturday afternoon, I heard the crunch of tires in my driveway. I looked out the window and saw her step out of a rideshare, sunglasses on, hair perfect, walking like she was coming to collect a debt. I didn't open the door right away. I let her knock. Twice. Then I cracked it just enough to see her face. "We need to talk," she said. I opened the door, but I didn't invite her in. "About what?" She tilted her head, giving me that slow, fake smile. "You've made your point. Congratulations. But you and I both know Mark will come back to me. When he does, you're going to have to live with me in his life. So why don't we call a truce?" I just looked at her for a long moment. "You tried to poison me, Chloe. You lied to hundreds of people about me. You wanted to ruin my name in my own family. And you think I should call that even?" Her smile tightened. "It was a mistake. I panicked. You provoked me." That was it. The part of her that couldn't help but show the real face underneath. No apology, no regret, just blame. I stepped closer, my voice low. "Let me make something clear. If you ever come into my home uninvited again, if you so much as touch a pot on my stove, I will take that footage, and I will make sure everyone sees it. Not just your followers, your family, the church ladies your mother brags to. Everyone. And I won't take it down." She blinked, and for the first time, I saw it. Fear. "You wouldn't," she said. I smiled. "I've already done worse. I let you think you were winning." I closed the door in her face. Later that evening, Mark came home from work holding a bouquet of lilies, my favorite. "She came to see you, didn't she?" he asked. I nodded. "Yes, and I told her exactly where she stands." He was quiet for a moment, then said, "I think I'm starting to understand you better, Mom." I smiled. "No, son, you're starting to understand her." And from that day forward, Chloe never set foot in my kitchen again. But every now and then, when I make my chicken soup, I catch myself smiling at the pot, because I know she'll always wonder if I might invite her over for dinner one last time, and whether she'd dare take the first bite